Hey there. So you might have stumbled upon the situation where you have got a new machine or a fresh installation of your favorite OS, and you want to start developing things right away. But the thing is you don't have an editor installed on your machine. So the first thing that you would do is you would start looking for installing an editor. For instance, in this case you want to install VS Code, but let's suppose you don't want to install VS Code on your system, but you still want to use it on your machine. How would you do that? Well, GitHub has solved this issue for us, and they have recently launched a cloud instance or a browser instance of VS Code that you can access in your browser right away. And the cool thing is you can access your local files and folders on this instance. So let me show it, and you can access it by just visiting this URL. So the URL is called vscode.dev. Yeah, this is the URL. So when this is open, so as you can see, it has loaded a browser instance of VS Code. So this is a full-fledged VS Code instance, but there are some key differences over here that I will be discussing in this video down the line. So as you can see, the first thing that you can do is you can create new file, open a folder, or open a remote repository over here. So let me just start by opening up a folder over here. So I will open a local folder. For instance, I will be opening a folder called Notepad. So this is a project of mine which is there on GitHub as well. So this is a local instance or local folder of that project. So let me just open this up. So when you try to open a folder over here, it will ask for a permission that VS Code Dev will be able to view files in Notepad until you close all tab for this site. So once you give a permission to access this folder, as you can see, it has listed all the content of this particular folder, and now you just can start modifying these files right away. And it's just like your desktop VS Code instance, where you can be able to see, or you can able to do a lot of things. So for instance, let me change something over here. Let me change this ID over here, mode, let's say dark. So as soon as I tried modifying this file, it has asked me for another permission, and that is to save files right into my system. So when I will give this permission, it will try to save this file into my local instance of this particular file. So if I will show you, let me show you if it has saved to my local instance or not. So I will open that folder. Yeah, and the file is app.js. So I will open up app.js. Okay, let's see if it has changed that particular line or not. See, so that's the power of using this cloud instance or browser instance of VS Code. You can directly modify your local files from the browser. but the thing over thing is you there are some limitations over here. So first let me show you what you can do. You can install the extensions over here. So for instance, I have installed two two themes over here, a Dracula theme. So I can uh, set a theme over here, as you can see, just like how you would do in VS Code. Next, you can install other extensions as well. You can as I have shown you, you can list all of the files over here. Apart from this, the cool thing about it is you can even search through files. So for instance, I want to search through files called style css. So it will search through the files of this particular notepad folder. So that is really cool that you can search through files as well. Now yeah, that is all the things that you can do with this. But there are some things that it can do. So for instance, let's say I want to jump to this particular function. So I cannot do it over here because there is no support for jumping to that function definition in this. So that is one limitation. The other limitation is it so there won't be any support for terminal. So as you can see, terminals are not available in this web editor. So because this is a browser instance, you cannot use terminal over here. Similarly, you cannot also use this debug tool of VS Code because this is a browser instance, as I said earlier. The other thing that it cannot do is it cannot save the session. So for instance, let me close all this, and if I refresh this instance, as you can see, it cannot save the workspace. So that is one thing. So when you accidentally refresh this instance, you will have to start everything from scratch and you will need to open that folder once again. So that is one limitation that you will need to keep in mind while working with this VS Code div. So that's it. That's a high level overview of things that you can and you can do with VS Code div. But in my opinion, it is pretty great for the starters, and I think it will get improved over time, and it will, I think, eventually replace the the desktop instance of VS Code, and you will be using this browser instance a lot more than the desktop. That's it. If you like this video, consider subscribing so that you will be able to get notifications when I upload a new video just like this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.